All right, players. All right, players. I got the sound volume for Evony correct, so we ain't over loud. I got my shirt off again. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Let me bring up so I can see myself on the screen. My shirt off. You know what I'm saying, bro? Oh, I ain't scared. Anyways, so this video, what this video is about, it's a part 3 of 2-part videos that I made a year and almost 3 months ago. Actually, today's the 6th of August. Yeah, a year and 3 months ago. So the reason why I'm making this video is we had a server merge like 4 months back. We were in Bubble or Burn with the enemy alliance on our server, just 2 alliances on the server. We merged with another server that had 1 alliance only, everybody in 1 alliance. So us 2, even though we were still in Bubble or Burn, us 2 on our server, they merged into us, agreed not to hit any of the guys coming from the new server. No one knows anybody. Maybe someone, makes friends with whoever. No reason to attack any of these guys, get to know them or whatever. But we're still in Bubble or Burn with the 2 servers on 1468. So the server coming, or the 1 alliance coming from the 1 alliance server to our server, they play both sides of the fence and get into merging talks with both of our alliances. With the end result being is they merged with either of the alliances that would agree to all their terms. So initially, they contacted me. There's one guy that was the current rank 5. I was told by some of their rank 4s that actually no, this other person founded the alliance. They're the actual leader. I got conflicting information. So I asked one of the 2 of them which of them I should talk to. And they told me I should talk to one of them. And he explained to me, yeah, I founded this alliance. We used to be a warring server. And once everything was conglomerated into 1 alliance and things had calmed down, I passed the rank 5 off to this other guy. So great. So I told him everything I would like to see happen if we merge. He basically agreed to everything that I set up, the main things that I would want, right? And then, like, I don't know, this is like 4 months ago, I don't know, a day or so goes by, and next thing I know, I think the last thing I said to him, I left a question, and he didn't respond. Then I get contacted by the other guy. That's the current R5, the placeholder figurehead R5, when things are calmed down. And he immediately gets in arguments with me about multiple things, and he does multiple things that are all huge red flags. He says one thing, but he completely cares about the opposite. So he made, like, one of the first things he said to me that was the status is he said something about he doesn't care too much about status and ranks, but what we argue about is, am I going to be rank 5 or him? And he's going to be running all the rallies in all battlefields, even though he was K42 at the time and I was K44. So he really cared about the status of both those things. Said, yeah, whoever's be rank 5 is, isn't important to me. Ranks don't matter to me. Status doesn't matter to me. But he wants to argue with me and explain to me that he's been running rallies for his team for a long time, and that's what they're used to. Whatever. Anyways, we have a falling out real quick. Last thing I know, the first guy, the founder, I never heard back from him. Like 2 days after that, they're merging with the other alliance, because the other alliance agreed to, I'll join their alliance. Their rank 5 is the rally leader, is the battlefields leader. even though the other alliance, the enemy alliance on our server, just us two, they had a K44 as well. So this is, now we all know, or at least I know, I definitely, of all the people on the server, I've spent much more time thinking about the game, making content for the game, being on the game, being around than anybody else on the server. It's just the truth. So I spend a lot of time thinking about things. People often say if they've ever watched a video or gotten advice from anyone on an older continent, like, hey, you know, what's best for your server, get everybody on one team, farm the maximum amount of resources, get the maximum amount of speed up so you can do as much healing as possible, to yada 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 yada. So I know that's the best thing to do. Well, initially, what happened was, as soon as they merged with the other alliance, I just went and zeroed all their unbubbled keeps. They merged with the enemy alliance. Bubble or burn now, baby. Now this all occurred before the first server war our new merged server had. Before they saw any scores from me in a server war. Also on that weekend was the Clash of Civilizations. I ranked 1 in personal points for, you know, what is it? 25. Is it teams of 8 teams of 25 or some shit? I ranked 1 in personal points, baby. If they just waited like 4 more days, they would have had like some information about me. Also, one of the things I did in preparation for, once the server merge list came out, you know how you can make everything viewable or unviewable? I went through, you know, my options and my monarch, and anything you could make viewable, I all made it viewable. So they could see, if they were curious about my account, they could see all my stats on everything. And it stayed viewable for like a solid 2 months. So that was available to them before the merge. Had they just waited a couple more days, had they not been in a rush so bad, we have to have the biggest alliance, we have to kill all the monsters, we need to make them quit, it doesn't matter which one we join with, we need to, you know, they said they were a warring server before they all joined under one banner. Who knows what type of manipulative shit they had to do. Anyways, so they're merged with this with the enemy alliance. It's all bubble or burn. We get in a channel and we talk for, it's a while. It's like maybe 2 more months. We talk about how can we get our alliance merged with them as well. Everybody on one team. You know, they're asking me stuff like, you know, we need NAP, we need peace, we need, you know, subsidies given back that were stolen before they were even on the server. We need this, we need that, we need blah, 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 blah. So I'm telling them what we need is everybody on one team. If you got to start working with me to come up with a plan to get everybody on one team, well, we will, once I see that, I think that's happening, we can, I just started telling everybody. I started telling, World Chat, I said, hey, because I was the one in my alliance doing most of the attacking. So I just said in World Chat, like, hey, I'm not going to attack anybody, you know, active account for the next 7 days. You know, but 7 days from now, if they don't respond about whatever it was I had a question about, I'm going to start attacking everybody again. So that happened once, and it has to be another 7 days or some shit. Anyways, I finally get them to answer the one simple question. Do you guys want me to write a proposal and submit it to you or not? They finally answered a yes or no question. So SMF, you know, 8 months prior to us being in Bubble and Burn, like 10 months ago now, a year ago now, I offered the same thing to them. Guys, let me know. I'll put in the time, I'll put in the hours necessary to write a legit proposal that no one will have an issue with. Anyways, they finally agreed to that. So now I got me and my number two, right, talking to them and their number two, or who knows who's number one and who's number two. I got the R5 that just wants to stay R5 forever, and I got the founder that created their alliance, right? So the four of us are in a WhatsApp channel they created. Now I spent months thinking about a proposal I would write up, but SMF, the enemy alliance before the merge that I first offered to them like 10 months ago or 12 months ago or whatever, they never answered that yes or no question. Do you want to receive and look at a proposal for me or not? Okay. Like almost a year later or whatever, I'm dealing with completely other people. Now they merged with them. So they're listening to all the bullshit, shit talk these guys are saying about me behind my back. They're merged with the enemy alliance for like 2 months. So I finally coordinate them listening to the whole proposal. And there's a video on that on my channel if you actually want to read the whole thing. So we get all done. The plan was we get it all done until the point is finalized and ready to be sent out to everybody. Now, the longest section in the proposal is like maybe 40% of the entire document. It is talking about the contents in these 2 videos. Like if you want to know about the most legit leadership you could have in the highest, most competitive environment you could be in, it's discussed in these 2 videos. But I just finished rewatching them both, and I realized there's a few things that were on my mind that I didn't verbalize in both those videos. Anyways, we got done with the proposal. Once it was finalized, it was supposed to be sent out to everybody. We merged with them. All the guys in the enemy alliance that had merged with them 2 months prior, they all leave in a couple of hours. I find out weeks later they never sent the proposal out to anybody. So the proposal has the initial proposal items written by me. It has their R5's response and ideas about that proposal. Then it has the other 2 guys. So I list myself as the rough draft writer. Then it has the other 2 guys, my number 2 and his number 2, or the founder of them and my number 2 guys. They're listed as, the final proposal writers, and they would write whatever they want above that. So I write the proposal, there are 5s writing something under me. It all has our names in, abbreviated names next to, so people can easily see who wrote what. So it has comments from all 4 of us. I spent an extensive amount of time thinking about this, writing it up, editing it, and a significant amount of time coordinating to get them to actually add their comments to it. When I finally got writing the rough draft, sent it out to all 3 of them, get all their responses formulated into one document. It was all ready to send out to everybody. They didn't send it out to nobody. No, you know what Mr. Anderson did? Sorry to call him out. That's the R5. You know what he did? Because I got the email within, minutes or hours of him sending out to the alliance. You know what he did instead? He wrote up a completely different alliance mail that said whatever he felt was important, as if that entire proposal and all the dozens of hours I put into it was written just for his candy ass and the founders. Which, I got along, I worked well together with the founder, right? Didn't send anybody out the proposal. Now I made it, once the proposal was done, as soon as it was done, it was finalized to send out to everybody, I immediately sent my alliance, everybody in the alliance. I told them about the whole situation because no one had any idea we'd been working on for essentially, it's 4 months at this point, or something like that, trying to merge with these guys, and they merged with them, and they were trying to come up with an idea to do it. But I already knew the solution since like 10 months ago, since I was going to do the same thing to merge with, the the guys that turned out to be the enemy alliance on our server before the server merge already had the idea. I was just looking for a yes or no answer. Do you want me to put in the time to write a proposal or what? That took fucking weeks. Anyways, when that was finalized and completed to a satisfactory level and ready to be sent out, right? We all got done. We got on a phone call, summed it up. I immediately sent out an alliance mail, told everybody in the alliance now the entire situation, all the work put in. I finally had a thing to send out to everybody, and I said, if you want to read the entire proposal, send me your email address. I will email you back a text document that you can easily copy and paste into whatever, program you prefer, if that's Adobe or Word or anything else I'm unaware of. I had like 5 or 6 people respond, immediately sent them, the proposal that day, right? They didn't do that. He wrote up a completely different fucking thing. I mean, I still have a screenshot on it on my PC, but the only thing I remember it saying was, SOCON will not be the rank 5. Like, it's so important to him, right? So, all right, now let me talk about, I felt like for anyone first-time viewer or hasn't watched these in over a year, need to refresh your memory. Now I'm going to talk about the things that I failed to mention that I wish I had after reviewing these 2 videos. Which between the proposal and these 2 videos, people should have all the information they need to know what I'm really all about and how I envision a team getting to. Okay, so if you watch those 2 videos and you know all that content, when you are delegated, when you're the leader of the alliance and you have an authoritative structure set up this way, when you're delegating authority to somebody, that means a few things. Like, the requirements as a leader is to identify what those few things are. Does the person just want the position? Does the person just want the title? Does the person just want the rank? Because that's positional authority. That's not delegated authority. Or do they want to actually have a job, responsibility, complete ownership of something they're highly interested in doing, maybe have experience with, doing? That's how they like to play the game. Like, if they're going to perform some function or reoccurring, task for the alliance. Maybe it's just a simple thing as assigning, everybody in the 3 lines of alliance duel. So every time people go join it, everyone just remembers, all they have to remember is just join line 1, line 2, or line 3 every time. Maybe that's all they do. And they're called the alliance duel officer. And that's all they do. They just write that up once, send it out, and they can just be the alliance duel officer forever. Never have to put in any more work ever. Because you know what happens? Anytime someone goes to join alliance duel, which we've never coordinated it, but anytime someone goes to join alliance duel, for example, everyone's joining the march that has the lowest power, because the 10 highest power shows that power, and they're trying to even out the marches so that when I go to join one of them, one of the lines is stupidly unbalanced, right? So, because, more ranked 4s are better than less ranked 4s, so I put out to my alliance, because this was the leadership in my alliance. Guess I don't need to show that anymore. People saw that screen long enough. Was I told them, if anybody has any idea for the name of a duty officer position that could do something for the alliance, let me know. We'll come up with a name for that officer position. Anything that is something in the game that if one person runs it completely, just run smoothly behind the scenes. You only have to, as the R5, you only have to identify who's most interested in doing it. That's the main thing. Who's the most highly interested in having that assigned position? Because it's not a rank, it's not a title. it's not a label for a position where you're in charge because, you got the college degree, it's your first actual job in real life, and now you're in charge of a bunch of people working for a company for 16 to 18 years. It ain't that bullshit. That bullshit is positional authority. Like, people are supposed to listen to you just because you have a position. That's called positional authority. It's the most common authoritative structure. Delegated authority, however, is the best possible leadership structure that you can have. Basically, the best person for each job has each job, right? So we merged with these guys with the proposal. They don't send it out. That other alliance all leaves within a few hours. They didn't even send the proposal to fucking anybody. No one even has any idea. But we're getting comments that people are upset that they were not involved in the negotiation. When, if you were to read the actual proposal, in the entire proposal, nothing is actually agreed upon or set in stone. There's comments from 4 different people for every single item, but the only thing that's agreed upon is like simple stuff like telling them I have 4 marches set up that can kill a B-19 with no wounded. And the 2 most powerful march are in March 1 and 2, so please run them if you're doing B-20s or 21s. But all of them can do anything else with no wounded. So that was one of the things in the proposal, right? And I said, I finally found a way after playing this game for 2 straight years and everybody always asking me for stamina. And I would never give anyone stamina ever until, the guy I'm closest to, he asked me for stamina once. So it took me 3 hours to send him the amount of stamina he requested. And after that one time, I never sent stamina to anyone ever again. But then, when they changed the Rally Monthly card, and I discovered a way that I can use my incredible amount of stamina that I have by building marches for everyone to use so everyone can save 35% stamina on all marches other than me, I found a way that will benefit everyone in the Alliance. So 4 marches are set up right now. Eventually, it will take me 3 or so months between building the 5th and 6th march, but eventually we will have 6 marches. The first 3, please use them to kill a B-20 or 21 if that's what you're killing. The last 3, use them for anything else. It'll be very simple to do run and rally. So that was one of the things everyone was like, okay, cool, no problems. There was like 10 different things proposed by me, responded by all 3 of them. That there was only one other thing we all agreed about, but basically it was the input from all of us. Like, the 2 most important people in my alliance, 2 most important people of theirs. Now our only concern is the alliance they did merge with, right? That was the enemy alliance. But the 2 most important people in their alliance, their leader and their K-44, I've never had a problem or issue with either of them. Like, personally, like, ever. I've never had any conflict with either of them or butted heads or argued about anything. Just because the teams we were on, and you get a bunch of free-to-play shitheads that never, ever have any intention of ever building to a point where they're ever going to do anything that benefits me, but they will spend hours every day, all day, trying to tell people that ever will PvP, how they should PvP, that go into all the battlefields when they never join any battlefields, like what they should do to build their battlefield or do better at their battlefields. They never fight in any SVS because they're like a couple 100 million power, and they can't ever fight in any SVS. We got these types of people on the server. They talk for hours on end, up to the point it appears as if they're part of leadership. They don't have any intention whatsoever, at all, of even starting to work on building their account so they can ever be a beneficial member of the team. So we got that going on. We got several players like that, right? Unbelievable. So the reason why delegated authority is important, the reason why you want your entire team to be run by the officers, everything. If you have a large enough team, I had a very small team. If you have a large enough team that you have enough manpower, you can get enough people together. We're looking at, the goal is the whole server, right? All 3 alliances, right? Then I told them the first thing we do, we identify as many names of officer positions, duty officer positions, of anything in the alliance that if one person managed it, let's come up with those names, as many as we possibly can, because more rank 4s is better than less rank 4s for all the functionality rank 4s has to do, right? So I don't care if it's a stupid name for a position, anything you can think of, it doesn't matter. But for the important positions, we have to find out who's most interested in the job. Like if someone's really interested, generally interested in a job, they're gonna get good at it. Like they're interested in it, so, and they've contacted you personally or volunteered for a position or replied to an email, right? They're gonna put time and effort into thinking about how to do it. They're gonna get better over time, etc., etc., etc. Now they have to have that position, and anything that falls under their purview, they have to have complete control of it. It needs to be their baby. It needs to be their football. It needs to be their football. Because if you're the leader and you're giving complete 100%, you're relinquishing your leadership of a certain entire thing to somebody, you're laterally giving them a football. You're having one conversation with them after just sending out to the alliance mail what I did in Legendary. Those first 2 videos, go through it, writing up a complete description, the expectations, responsibilities, and you say a few important things like you are expected to take complete ownership of anything concerning battlefields and run it as you deem fit. Those specific phrases. If their name is maybe you have a communications officer. Maybe you have someone that currently runs their Discord. If it falls under the name of that officer position, under their purview, you need to give them complete control of it, right? Especially if they created the Discord for you and they're paying for the Discord, right? Comms officer, anything they deem to fall under their purview, they run it as they feel. They send out instructions, they send out alliance mails, they just send it out to everybody without anybody else's opinion. So comms officer, maybe they realize it's important to remind people 10 minutes before a battlefield to get on comms because they tried that a few times and increased the number of people that enter the battlefield on time. Maybe they run the Discord. Maybe they if they run the Discord, you also, if anyone asks for a channel to be added, that they make the channel for them, right? Anything that falls under comms. Maybe since there's a bunch of foreign language speakers in the game, maybe they find an assistant that wants to help them with any foreign language speaker. Because let's face it, most of the teams, the Battlefield's teams, a lot of them, they all be speaking English, right? Like maybe they have someone that they find themselves that will help them with comms because they're having some miscommunications with translations, and they just tell the alliance, so-and-so is going to help with any miscommunications between foreign language speakers and a speaker of any other language, and they've already asked who's interested in doing it, and they've received the replies just themselves, and they just tell the alliance, so-and-so is, if you're a foreign language speaker, so-and-so, if you have any issues that you think might be a communication problem, so-and-so is going to help you out with that, right? As a comms officer, you need to you need to take complete ownership of it as if it's your baby. Why? If you're not doing that, right? If you're not doing that, you're not operating under delegated authority. I'll give you an example. Here's an example. If I'm the leader and I have it, the end goal is to have everything that could possibly need some sort of management. Maybe it's trivial, maybe it's just bullshit, just like takes a lot of time, like accidental hits that need compensation, and your servers during purge shit, and too many accidental, compensation things happen, and whoever the mitigator is supposed to coordinate the compensation being paid for your entire alliance. He's just swamped. Like some of those positions, maybe no one is going to volunteer for. Maybe still as the alliance leader, you're still going to get all those messages for anything in that area. But the goal is to have everything that can possibly coordinate it and run by particular people in the alliance, most interested in doing it, or have a lot of experience, but they got to have enough time, right? They got to have the motivation. It's about, they got to have the motivation to do it. If they ain't really interested in doing it, they just want to be a rank 4, well, fucking tell me you got an alt and you can be a rank 4 so you can appropriately manage your alt. Fucking easy, no problem. More rank 4s are better than less rank 4s. How many times people asking people to reset alliance competition tasks? So the issue is both those alliances, the ones we became enemies with, Bubbler Burn, and the one server alliance that came over, both of them had positional authority. They just, like this alliance KRT that we merged with, before I got on their asses about it a little bit, because they're 2 years into the game, their ranks still said rank 5, rank 4, rank 3, rank 2, rank 1. They didn't even fucking name them anything. 2 years in, they didn't even name the ranks anything yet. Okay, they're named now team lead. So if you watch that video from a year and 3 months ago, I say in that video, rank 5 is called team lead. Like, we ain't in Legendary, we ain't in my alliance. We in their alliance. They changed all these since I got on their case about it. If you want to ever get to be in an elite team, you at least gotta change 2 things. I started with that. Like, there's no name to your rank. So, Legendary, what's rank 4 called? Alliance duty officers. What they name rank 3? Knights. It's named Knights of the Round Table Camelot. So, okay, bishops. I don't know what they mean. They have so many accounts as rank 2. I can't even possibly understand it. And noobs. So, in Legendary, it was trials/alts as rank 1. Rank 2 was new members, people that had joined us and only been with us a short period of time. And then rank 3 was full members, people that were, full members of the alliance. And the recruitment officer had complete control from. He was the only one that accepted anyone's application to the guild, no one, or to the alliance. No one clicked that button but the recruitment officer, right? Then, I instructed him to have a conversation with anybody that applied, asked them a few general questions, and the goal of having an initial talk with them is to find out, ask them a couple things to find out if they will ever be any benefit whatsoever to anyone on our team. If you find anything that shows they will do something for the team, accept their invite, and then promote them to new member, then to full member or whatever, period of time you think they need to be rank 1 before they go to rank 2, or rank 2 before they go to rank 3. Based on, whatever you want to evaluate, how much time you notice they're on the game, how much they participation in chat, however you want to determine that. So he was in complete control, recruitment officer, from as soon as I found the person most interested in doing it. He was in complete control of all that. Anyone who wants to join, like it's someone 10 billion power, but I'm not thinking let's get that 10 billion power guy in here as soon as possible. No, they had to wait for their invite to be accepted until the recruitment officer clicked on it hours later. Or he might send them a message before clicking on it, ask them couple questions based on their answers. If they were just going to be one more dead weight, do nothing but talk all the time, never be like, if they just want to come to our alliance and all they're ever going to be is a disappointment, decline the application after application request, after asking them a few basic questions. Like stuff like, what do you like doing in the game? If they start saying stuff like, making sure my troops don't or I don't have too much food, that my troops start eating them, or some bullshit like that. Like their main concern is some fucking, day 2, brand new account, never played before, fucking bullshit, decline their application, right? So after, and this all happened either within that day of me finding and identifying, or having someone reply. Like some of the officer positions I had responses to, and it wasn't an important position to fill now because we were a very small alliance. We had a battlefields team of like 7 to 10 people in all bogs and bogs, right? So it wasn't necessarily important to fill all the positions that I taken the time to write up in detail, but maybe they'd be useful in the future. So if someone replied to one of those, and it didn't seem like they were that interested at all, but they were the only one that applied for it, like responded to it, or said they wanted to volunteer for it, I just, I never told anyone how many people, responded, this, that, or the other thing. I would just have a conversation with whoever responded to the description of the duty officer position written up, ask them a few questions, tell them this sounds great. I say, when I get the time to, write up an email to the alliance about you being promoted to rank 4, I'll do that, but congratulations. I would immediately promote them to rank 4, and then sometime the next day I'd write up, a decently, several paragraph message about them. I'd say something like, so and so has stepped up their game and and volunteered to fill the important position of, X, Y, Z. I'd say something real good that makes them sound like a professional, right? Make them feel real good to start right off the bat. And then I would literally never have a conversation with any of the duty officers about anything they were responsible for ever again. There was one duty officer I demoted and took him, or demoted him and told him he's not the recruitment officer anymore. But that's because when our server went first into Bubble or Burn, he was one of the officers. He was like, top 20 billion power on the server, and he got 0 while he was AFK. I was reinforcing him with ground. No one else reinforced him. He was AFK for a long time. And when I came back, I took a full march of ground wounded from him getting zeroed, and he was, something higher than 3 billion power, 4 billion power, something like that. So I told him, I just sent him a short message. Never asked him about anything. Who has he recruited? Do you know anyone interested in joining the Alliance? Who has he tried to convince to come join us? I'd never had a single conversation with him at all whatsoever after the initial one, the day I found someone that volunteered that sounded to me like they were actually interested, right? So I sent him a short, sweet message and told him, hey, you got zeroed. We're in bubble or burn. I expect a lot more out of my rank forwards. You've been demoted and are no longer the recruiting officer. Like, I just sent him that one sentence message. So then I got flooded. Over the next 3 weeks because he was a recruitment officer for, I don't know, 4 months, for a while. Then a whole bunch of people told me about all the things he did. Like, so-and-so is here that joined 3 months ago because of him. Oh, so-and-so joined at yada time, and their friend also joined because of him. Like, he put a lot of work. Like, I had no idea about any of it because I didn't tell him to give me a status report every so often. But if that's what you do, if you're able as a leader to identify the best people you got, the best men or women for the job, and you give them the football, you delegate that authority to them completely, well, how are they going to feel then? Right? They're not going to feel like they're not part of leadership. They're not in a chat talking to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other people, floating back ideas. Maybe this will work. Maybe that will work. For some reason, everyone always goes with someone else's idea, not yours, and this, that, and the fucking other thing. No. A whole bunch of positions were sent out, fully described. Within a short couple of days, they applied for the position they're most interested in. And if you do that, you completely hand them the football. Guess what happens then? They motivated now. No one's going to argue with them again. No one's going to fucking whatever. Like, they got an important role in the Alliance that they do it over time. They do it well. If they do it real well, if it's an important thing that affects, battlefield's progression or significant rewards or something like that, if they do it well, they can feel proud of themselves. But also, slowly over time, any position that requires any reoccurring work on a weekly basis or 1 day a week or whatever it is, those people that are those ranked forwards, they're going to earn actual respect from the Alliance for putting in work for the team, such that everything is run behind the scenes and we're just crushing everybody, because anything that needs to be taken care of is already being taken care of by the people that are the most interested and want to spend the absolute most amount of time improving something or getting something better for the Alliance to help out the team, right? I mean, the way these two alliances had it set up, they had the leadership channel, the council, where any single issue about anything, they had 9 people going back and forth for fucking hours. They're trying to talk some sense into these guys. I told them in chat, in text, do you guys want to waste all your fucking time forever? Or do you just want to find the best? Or do you just want to write up all the descriptions of all the things we need coordinated in the entire Alliance, as many as we can think of? Send them all out at once. Whoever they're responding to, I'd be best suited for it. All I want to know is who is obviously the most interested in this position. And I might have to be a little bit more sneaky with the questions I ask them. All I want to know is if they just want to be a rank 4? Because all they've ever experienced in their life is positional authority. They're given respect. People listen to everything they say because they're a rank and they have a title, but they don't actually put any work in. All they do is spend their time talking forever. in a fucking channel where everybody else is talking fucking forever. Like, what the fuck, dude? Bro, I've been in some pro teams, like top 10, top 20, in the world. Game been out since 1999. I don't know, 34th expansion coming out this December. Like every single one of those guilds, they're called guilds in EverQuest. All the guilds have been top 5 out of all the guilds in the entire game. Hundreds. They've been top 5 for straight almost 2 decades running. Like every single one of them formulated and evolved more than a decade ago to be exactly that. To be exactly that style of leadership. They are a rank and file system operating under delegated authority. One more thing I wanted to add. You find the delegated authority, best man for the job, has the job most often in engineering, construction, the military, hopefully the police force, oil riggers, jobs where hard work needs to be done. That's where you find it. However, what is interesting to know, because a couple of people completely reformatted their entire alliance leadership structure after spending a significant amount of time with me. So other than the people on my server, the people I talk to the most, like sometimes 6 hours a day, is Genghis and a guy named Egon, which is one of the biggest spenders. Egon Champ. He's one of the biggest spenders on continent. Used to be continent 6, now on continent 5. He's level 1600 and whatever. He's got every single rank 3, spending competition castle, buff castle that's come out since he started playing. He's got 3 or 4. He got all his all-star dragons already, and he's got the mythic gothic castle that's 15% mark size you can buy in the all-star shop. He needs one more elder dragon source to unlock. He got crazy buffs. He got like 6,300% range troop attack. Server 1600 something. This guy, Killer Egon. So this guy as well. He got 10,000. Ideal link. I thought he'd be max. Anyways, this guy as well. I had to spend like 12 hours over like 3 or 4 different days talking to Genghis until he fucking understood what I was talking about. Setting up a leadership structure this way, because very seldom, if ever, will you ever work in an environment that does it. Only if you're in those ones that I mentioned, and only if that organization or company or military command isn't an environment as established by the leader where shit rolls downhill and everybody lowest on the totem pole gets blamed. There's a lot of that shit in the military. However, every command, so not the military as a whole, but every individual command. So, it would be from the lowest ranked E1 to usually the O5. Sometimes you got an O6 for all services. So between the lowest ranked E1 straight out of boot camp up to the O5, depending if it's an army, maybe it's a very large command of 2,000. If it's a Navy, I worked on subs. I had a command of approximately 180. But that's the verbiage. It's not issuing command telling someone to do something. It's the name of the whole group of people, from the lowest rank to the guy overall in charge of everybody. Now, not the military as a whole, but internally, every command from across all militaries in the entire world, internally within their command, they operate, or they are supposed to operate, as a rank and file system with delegated authority, where almost no one ever hears from the captain, because he has he has all the officers running everything. And the enlisted guys, if possible, they have the most junior, newest people there. Like if it's a situation where they're working on machinery, like I was on sub, like if it's a boat, if it's whatever, where everyone's mostly working on equipment, operating equipment, or doing maintenance on equipment, to the point where they have the most junior people that they have in the command actually doing all the work, operating all the equipment, being monitored. I mean, you go out to sea on a sub, you practice drills 3 to 5 days a week, like fire, flooding, whatever drills. It might be 8 hours that day, it might be 6 hours the next, it might be whatever. Everybody has to be awake. Like that's a real good command. And what is the captain? What is the 05? What's his policy? I've been very fortunate in my life. The experiences I've had, I've seen the best leadership you could possibly ever have, and the worst leadership you could possibly ever have. I had 3 different 05. We call them captains, but they're ranked a commander to command a sub. I had 3 during my time in. Now the officers, they only do 3-year tours out to sea. Enlisted do 5-year tours out to sea. But I had 3 different ones. One was the worst you could ever fucking possibly imagine. They were having captains masked 2 or 3 times a week, like nearly every week. Like silence on the decks while a captain's mass is being conducted in the fucking ward hall or whatever. Like an E1, an E2, an E3. Like they're in non-judicial punishment because somebody made a mistake, and the person that everyone was always trying to blame was the lowest ranked person in their division. Like it was crazy. While I was in that command for a short period of time, no one was talking to anybody. Like there was 0 teamwork. Like people were scared to talk to anybody because they knew if they talked to them too much, that person might rat them out if they realized they did something wrong. Like that was all that was happening in that entire fucking command. It was ridiculous. I could tell you more about it, but that commander got removed from duty. Like squadron came down, took his keys away from him, his ability to operate or tell anyone how to do anything on the whole boat that he's supposed to be completely in control of. That's how badly that guy in charge of everything performed. Unbelievable. I could tell you some stuff about that story that's just incredible. I shouldn't say it. Like it's crazy what happened. But man, I really want to say one thing. God damn. This happened back it's been 15, 16 years ago. Woo, shoot. If I mention this, I might talk about it for a while. Okay, I'll just mention it and try to go on to the next subject and not get completely derailed. But so 20 years service, officer, enlisted is the minimum amount of time to retire, get your pension for the rest of your life, right? But some people might sign contracts, re-enlistment bonuses, signed up for 6 more years, goes on for 3 more years, past 20. Who knows? I don't know that piece of information about the guy. But when you have a chief, so he's the highest ranked enlisted in charge of a whole division of a particular rating. He's the tallest crew member on the submarine. Guy was like 6'6", 6'7". Wife and 3 kids. Been in the Navy for 18 and a half years. He was so desperate. He did not want to go out to sea with these guys one more fucking time. That the night before we were supposed to deploy, he committed suicide by hanging himself on a submarine where there is nowhere on the submarine where you can hang and your feet dangle from. You can immediately touch anything or put your foot up and stop hanging. Tallest crew member. Find out later, he was the Chiefs quarters personal punching bag, kicking bag. Everybody blamed him in the Chiefs quarters. So all the highest ranking enlisted guys. You know, you got an E7 for each rating in the Chiefs quarters, and a couple more that might be, you know, E8 or E9. Apparently, if anything happened and someone from the Chiefs quarters needed to be blamed for something, they were always finding a reason to blame him. That's how bad it was. Unbelievable, right? So, I hope you guys enjoyed my video here, talking about some real shit. But really, I hope these guys in KRT, they're so-called, you know, leadership R5. I hope they actually took the time to read that whole proposal, or read it once. As far as I know, only 2 people read it so far. They read it months ago, right? When I wrote it up for them, basically. They listened to those first 2 videos I showed at the beginning of this video, and then they listened to this one. So, yeah, it's important. If you don't set up, like, I've been in some top, you know, clans, alliances, or guilds, like top 20, top 10, top 5 player in the world for those games, and very highly competitive PvP games. And like, if you're, you know, now this is a game where you can spend huge, and you can maybe not worry about that, especially if you get all the biggest spenders you possibly can, and put as much recruitment effort as you possibly can for years into getting everybody into VIC and RSP, and it might not matter to them. But if you want to compete well, and you want to beat every time opponents that are similarly having as much potential as you do, well, you got to have leaders. You got to have your officers be people that are actually responsible for something, and they execute the importance of being an officer. They pay the respect. If you're going to be part of leadership, should be something you're doing for the alliance, right? Like, it should be serious for you. Like, anytime I've been a leader of a group of people or a team, I took that responsibility very seriously. Like, my job is to provide my alliance the best information, ideas, advice, or otherwise I possibly can do for them, right? My job is to ensure everything in the alliance runs smoothly. My job is to ensure people maximize the rewards they can possibly receive. My job is to this, that, and the other fucking thing, right? But initially, if you start out where you're the R5, and anytime any other alliance or anyone in your alliance has an issue with any other member, you're the one that's getting contacted about every fucking goddamn thing. That's how it started out with me, but I went to work real goddamn quick, like within a few days, because I had done it before. I started writing up all those positions, fucking availability things to volunteer for. That was over a year ago. In the alliance, like, we were all in legendary for, you know, well more than over a year, and we just left like nearly 2 months ago to join these guys, and these guys have no leadership structure at all. They got positional authority. Everybody's a rank 4. They just all in one chat. They talking forever about something. All the problems. This is the problem. This shouldn't happen. We need to do better at this. If we could just reinforce faster. If people could do their march size faster. And they're chatting fucking forever. And I'm telling these guys, like, hey, like I just told them before I started recording this video. Someone was on our Discord. He was complaining about a whole bunch of different things. I told him, hey, there's chat on the WhatsApp. It was talked about by multiple people, and several times people said ideas that I hadn't thought of, but everything you complained about above, all that stuff was talked about through fruition, where everything that discussed and everyone that was in the chat participating got to the point they all agreed with, oh yeah, that idea will fix this. Oh yeah, that is a good idea to do that, because if you do that, this will happen. But I told them now what we need is someone to take the time to produce no larger than a one-page document in whatever format or file or program or look or style that they have experience with, or whatever. However they want to do it, we need someone to take the time and put all that stuff for those certain particular problems. It was mostly concerning about, the main topic was, how can we ensure all the small players get the maximum amount of points they possibly can with the troops and buffs that they do have. That was topic of conversation. I was like, all right, now we need someone to put in the work to take all those ideas, suggestions, conclusions. Everyone, I left the chat once it seemed to me like everybody agreed on all the solutions. This is going on for, I don't know, a little bit less than an hour, and I see the same stuff from a different guy. I don't remember if he was in the chat or not, complaining about the same things, and like all the solutions and everything was talked about through near completion. There might have been a couple small details. I was like, now what would be GG, because the name of my alliance, the last two teams I led were both named Legendary. One was an alliance, one was a clan and hero wars. And, I don't like doing things unless it can be considered in hindsight by my team members to have been legendary, or maybe we tried to do something that everyone could consider would be legendary, but we failed at it. But at least we tried to be legendary. I mean, hey, we are legendary. I was like, now, if I mentioned one person that's putting in a whole lot of work to make sure our second round of Chalons goes better. So I mentioned his name specifically. I said he's busy working on a whole bunch of things, like he's already told us. So hopefully he's able to accomplish whatever goals he set for himself to complete before the next round. So, because I know he's told everybody all the different things he's working on. So we need someone other than him to go to the recent WhatsApp chat. I forget which channel it was in, and formulate all the solutions, all that stuff, into a one-page document. Because if you're trying to go scroll through and read a whole bunch of paragraphs of chat, and you read all the ideas, and they're all spread out through like all these different, you got to scroll up and scroll down. Someone said something that applies to what someone of your keep level should do for your power level in different situations. You read it once, maybe you grow in power later on, you forget. You want to go back and read it again. I was like, if we can generate a one-page document that has all that stuff for those particular power levels on one simple page, such that the second time someone wants to look at it again to remind themselves, within a split second of them looking at it for the second time, they're gonna have read, because they'll remember where it was on the graph or the chart or the Excel page or the fucking bubble chart or whatever you want to do. They'll remember what location it was on that one page, and they'll immediately, because everyone will review it and they'll think about, okay, what applies to me? Maybe someone forgets it. I was like, if someone can do that, formulate all that stuff we've been discussing for a while in multiple programs into one document that are the solutions, well, then we won't just be talking about stuff now, will we? We'll actually have something. Like, whoever does that, heck, they already are legendary. So, yeah, I'm trying to talk some sense into these guys. And, yeah, so much has happened. I made like 2 videos in the last 2 months. So much has happened in the last, since the server merge. There's a lot of things I could talk about, but that's enough for now. Thanks for watching. or listening. I guess there wasn't too much to watch now, was there?